Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. Appreciate having me.
Hey, did your tone in your voice drop?
Maybe.
As soon as
Maybe.
you got it?
Hope not. Edit that one.
What are you doing in the AI digital tech front space?
Absolutely nothing.
No, mate.
Absolutely nothing, and I should be. Am I going to be redundant next year?
What do you reckon?
Oh shit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Yarns with Andy. Today I've got Daniel Small, the managing director of Elemental QS. He set up his QSing company in New Zealand recently. He's worked as a QS across Australia, New Zealand. Originally a builder, I hear.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. Appreciate having me.
Yeah, cool. Hey, did your tone in your voice drop?
Maybe.
As soon as
Maybe.
You got it?
Hope not. Edit that one.
Edit that one. I love it. All right, mate. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So I started off in the construction industry in 2006.
Yes.
Worked as a builder's labourer, then into a foundation specialist. Started a carpentry apprenticeship, and then moved down to Christchurch. So this was all in Auckland. Moved down to Christchurch, continued on building down there, and slipped a disc in my back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then after 6 weeks off on ACC, first day back at work again, slipped it again.
Shit.
So I'm just sitting at home. My wife's like, I think it's time to pull the pin.
Yep.
Go and study something else. I'm like, oh, study what? She says, oh, maybe quantity surveying or project management. I'm thinking, oh no, this is going to be too hard. And
How old were you when this happened?
Probably 27.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and
That's you're still young, mate.
that's it. Well, I had a child on the way as well, and had a mortgage, and it was quite stressful. But I did it, and went and studied quantity surveying. And as soon as I started it, I was just like, yeah, this is for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Bean counting.
Pardon?
Bean counting. I'm just giving you shit, mate.
But yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah, no, interesting. Yeah. How'd you move to Australia? What happened there?
On a plane.
Yeah, great. No idea. Like,
I when I finished studying, I found it quite challenging to find a job here in New Zealand. There weren't a lot of jobs out there. In fact, there still isn't for quantity surveyors coming out of school. So my wife was also, graphic design marketing. So she moved over to Australia. I followed her, and found a job there straight away. And PQS firm, loved it, and
cool.
that was for me.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me into our first segment here.
Yeah.
So tell us the difference between, let's start with what a QS does.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I want to move into the difference between a PQS and a QS. But let's start with the QS.
Well,
what do you do? What do you do in the construction?
What do I do, or what does a QS do in general?
What does a QS in general do?
It depends on PQS, main.
No, let's start with the QS. What does a QS do?
Okay, so a PQS would
A QS.
a QS
Yeah.
measure, estimate, invitations to tender, procure contractors, prepare subcontract agreements, contracts, cost planning, financial reporting, reinstatement cost assessments. Some do tax depreciation schedules. Yeah, some do, yeah.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I think they might need to be a registered tax accountant or something
as well.
like that. But a bit of everything, really. Financial reporting, if I haven't mentioned that.
Financial, that's the most important thing, financial reporting.
Well, from my perspective, yeah. Do a lot. Variation assessments. Some do embodied carbon calculations, so upfront embodied carbon. I've done a bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm probably missing a lot there, but...
Yeah, probably. So what's the difference between a QS and a PQS?
Okay, so a QS could be working for like a main contractor or a subcontractor.
Yeah.
They're there to go out to tender to their subcontractors, procure all the subcontractors, put together a builder's bill of quantities.
Yes.
Get the subcontractors, put them into those trades, measure and price their own works, price up the preliminaries, margin, etc., and then prepare a tender submission.
Yep.
And there'll be other stuff.
I'm part of that process, kind of, from a planning perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and the program's very important to that, especially when it comes to preliminaries. Yeah.
Time is the most important resource you've got, mate.
Yeah.
Take away all the money I've got.
Yeah.
All good. I can make more money.
I've heard you say that. Yeah. But
can't buy more time.
That's it. But for an example, when a crane is up, that's expensive. Yeah. That's a time related cost that super expensive. Same with scaffolding.
You don't know how long it's going to be up for when you're going to put your First precast panel on when you're going to put your last window in.
I don't, but that's where, I heavily rely on a project manager or a planner like yourself to sort of, I rely on you guys to sort of say, that's going to be up, the scaffold's going to be up for 12 weeks or,
Whatever it is,
8 months, whatever. Yeah.
So what does a PQS do?
A PQS traditionally, what do? We prepare like feasibility estimates.
Yeah.
Then we might do like a 20% design documentation cost plan, then 50%, perhaps a pre-tender. Then we might do a bill of quantities. We might invite...
But off a detailed design, concept design?
Ideally off like consented documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So ideally detailed design.
Very detailed, hopefully.
Yep.
And that's where we see a lot of, problems there with time, like variations and cost overruns and time related cost overruns. And that's a huge thing for a financier, right? Like, because program is kind of interest.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then do that and invite contractors to tender. We'll analyze those tenders, perhaps make a recommendation. We will, at that point, might do financial reporting, assess progress claims, assess variations, final account.
So the key thing is, as a PQS, you only work for the client.
Developer, yeah.
Always paying the bills.
That's it. Whoever.
Yeah, the guy with the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a QS, they'll be working for the main contractor and procuring subcontractors, which you don't do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. How are you finding the market?
The Christchurch market's actually still going pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should fucking move to Christchurch.
I think a lot of people are.
Auckland's dead.
A lot of people are. Because there's still like a lot of development profit down in Christchurch because land's so cheap.
Yeah, right.
And construction is cheap down there as well.
Yeah, right.
Providing, but you do have like a lot of latent ground conditions like water and rock down in Christchurch with the high water table. But that aside, it's pretty good. There's not as many delays, especially in like residential projects as opposed to like, Auckland residential projects. But
So as Elemental QS, you only work for resis or do you do commercial, residential, all of it?
Anything. I've done, reinstatement cost assessments. So reinstatement cost assessments, residential, commercial, industrial, financial reporting, bit of everything.
Dan, you said part of your key job is doing financial reporting, right? And you kind of heard you call it what? An art form.
Yeah.
Why? It's numbers, man. How can it be an art form?
Because,
why is it an art form?
Because on like the developers paying your invoices, right? But you're also reporting to the financier. So your primary duty of care.
When you say financier, you mean bank?
Lender, it's not always a bank, but financier, lender.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're reporting to them, and the sole purpose of that report is to identify risk and come up with solutions and just protect their interests. So it can be a bit of it can be quite challenging. Like I've had developers say, hey, look, we're the one who pays your bills, report this. And so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And those are the clients that you don't want to keep. Anyway.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah. Like, people that don't want the truth actually reported, call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Yeah, and quite often they don't like that because it can have some serious implications in terms of cost for, like, for example, they might say, oh, we're going to finish this project in January, and you're standing there going, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're like, okay, it could be like March or April. Yeah. And when you report that to the financier, maybe the next progress claim, the developer might be funding a bigger proportion out of their equity. They might be putting in more equity to cover that because the financier's looking at it going, well, maybe we need, to cover, there's more interest because the loan's going to be for longer. Okay,
so why would a developer want to not call a spade with his financier?
Because they might have to put in more money, more equity.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so then that comes from the developer's pocket, instead of it being financed by the financier.
Maybe they will, but most likely they have to put in more funding.
And then the risk profile of that project increases, which means then the risk is reported, which means people get uneasy.
People can get uneasy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that happen quite a few times on commercial projects, Yeah. Like literally, I've worked on projects where, here's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I used to work on a project just in town. It was 2020-ish, something like that. I don't know, it was COVID time. I walked into this project and, I think I reviewed the whole project and said, mate, there's no way you're completing before 2025. Not a chance in hell. Yeah, project director on that job turns around and says, you will say we will finish in 2023.
Yeah.
Like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
It's professional ethics, mate.
Yeah.
I've just mapped out 3 fucking critical paths that'll get you to 2025, no earlier. Yeah, I mean, it's 2025 now,
Yeah.
and they're about to finish.
Yeah.
Some people might guess what job it is. I'm not going to say what job it
Yeah.
is.
And yeah.
But yeah, so it's this happens all the time in the industry. What, how do we stop this then?
You can't, like, if the program's going to blow out, like we're just advisors, so we can't provide them with, programs and planning, like, what you do. We don't do that. We just report on what we see on the ground. So we're kind of the developers, or sorry, financiers' eyes and ears.
When I said, how do we stop this? How do we stop false reporting in the market?
You just got to have professional integrity. Like everyone, so like there's false reporting, like a member of the NZIQS, or registered quantity surveyor, whatever. Regardless, there is a code of conduct there, and in there, and I'm sort of paraphrasing here, that it says something along the lines, you can't tarnish the reputation of the NZIQS, and you must report accurately. So there's that, and also if you're false reporting, you've got PI insurance, and that won't cover you for false reporting or negligence, right?
Like what most companies like yours and mine would have, 5 mil PI insurance.
Yeah.
Max.
So I think I've got 2 mil, but some QS firms will have 20 mil.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that, and then you've got to have professional integrity.
Yeah.
Communication up front with the developer, and just letting them know, hey, we're here to report accurately to the financier and protect their interests. And quite often, not every first tier lender, but most first tier lenders and second tier lenders will have an instruction letter that the QS has to sign, and it'll set out the terms, and it'll say, look, you're to report solely to us, and you'll invoice the developer directly, and they'll pay you. But so there's a few things there to prevent that kind of thing.
That's quite interesting, though. Eh?
Yeah.
So
it does happen. Yeah.
So as a PQS, you work for the developer, not for the person who's actually financing the project.
As a PQS, we work for developers, but if we're financial reporting, we're working for the financier.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the developer still pays us.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
But then through the financier, through the developer to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So still the financier still paying you, but just through the developer. So you kind of work for the developer, so you got to listen to the developer.
I think there's certainly compromise that you've got to make, but you can't. Yeah, it's challenging.
I bet it is, mate.
Yeah.
I bet it is. I'm sure there are ways with professional integrity we can come over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honest reporting. I don't think people understand the quantum effect of just inaccurate reporting or just hiding information. The consequences of that is just insane.
Yeah.
Like I go back to my base example, which is reported in the papers. Fletcher's lost $1 billion. Has anybody asked a question in the market, turning around and saying, how did they lose $1 billion?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
could prevent it from happening in the future.
How do you prevent that from ever happening again? Yeah. Okay. And I'll tell you, Hannah, I'm confident there are a few companies out there that may not lose $1 billion because their exposure is not that great, but on the brink of shutting down.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And if those companies had to just step back and go, right, what could we have done differently?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's food for thought, eh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, there was a project. I just went and drove past a project that I reported to a financier on like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And in my report, there was no contract in place. It was kind of, there were some major red flags, right? There's no contract in place. It was kind of done in good faith. It wasn't owner builder development. We asked for sort of a trade leading schedule, didn't get it. No contract, didn't get that. Asked for subcontract agreements, didn't get it. Having subcontractors, and I was talking to like builder, and they were on their second builder.
Oh, yeah.
Drove past it today, and now they're on their third or fourth builder.
Holy shit.
Yeah. They're on like their third Sparky. And this was all showing up in the news as well. That they weren't paying subcontractors on previous projects, and yet this person's going out and building a beautiful, nice house.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I can't name them. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just put that out as a challenge. To
Maybe.
people listening to it to see if they can guess. Or
Yeah.
I
think a lot of people will know. But
yeah. If you're in the industry, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, surely you know.
Yeah. But we said, these are the risks, and they still financed it. That's that's at their discretion, and it's coming to it's almost at completion. It's almost there. But when they might have said it's going to be, just an example, January, and we're saying, okay, probably more like August. We're actually past, that August now, so, and it's still not done.
Then, so when you're doing financial reporting, often the numbers may tell a story where the project is on track and going well and whatnot. That often may not be the case, right?
Occasionally, yeah.
Occasionally?
Yeah.
What are some of the telling signs that a project's actually failing? From your perspective, from a PQS perspective?
Yeah, so like, I can sometimes look at the program and say, okay, you're miles behind program. Looking at the cash flow, okay, we're miles behind. Overclaiming. So
Overclaiming?
Yeah.
Interesting.
When they overclaim and they really dig their heels in, and it could be over, they might be claiming 500 grand, and you go out the site and you think there's only $300,000 done, and they're really firm on that $500,000, and that could be another sign. And you go out to the site and there's no work being done since last month, or they haven't put a progress claim in for 3 months, but you drive past and you see, oh, well, nothing's been done. So that could often be a telling sign.
Interesting. Yeah. But then you could make things look really good on paper?
No, definitely not.
Could they make it look good on paper?
Well, you still got to visit site, and then
the tangible is the tangible, right?
No, I don't think you can't.
You're building, or you're not building.
You can't. Like it's so clear that there's troubles.
Yeah. So some of the key telling signs are, which is overclaiming.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one for me. Tell me more about that.
So it's probably cash flow.
Yeah.
And they just need as much, maybe, it's just cash flow really. They need money. Perhaps the financier won't fund deposits or, unfixed offsite materials, perhaps cash retentions, or, and so they need the cash flow might be hurting. So, yeah.
So I have a pretty strong view about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, not about the overclaiming.
Yeah.
About connected data. I might just bring this back to connected data in a way, sort of form, right?
Yeah.
So say there's progress made on site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If all of that information was neatly grouped into packages, disciplines, a location breakdown, that you then had an estimate, and then I had a program, which is all interrelated bits of information, which is not today. Yeah. I don't think there's one project in New Zealand that's got time information and cost information interconnected with the design information. Right?
Yeah.
Where you can correlate all three.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one job in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Not a chance. Yeah?
Yeah.
Imagine if all of those three bits of information was interconnected, right? Okay. All I'd have to do is go into a program and push a button and say, actually, the substructure is complete.
Yeah.
Cool. Bang. That then triggers a QS to go, right, we need to process a payment claim for this, which is associated with this particular task, which is the line item. That's the cost item.
Yeah.
And then that automatically goes into an invoice that then gets processed back to the PQS. So there's a trail of evidence, which you can then link back to your time-lapse cameras.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which you can then link back to the design too. Yeah. So all of these different silos is just crazy, mate. Like, as a QS would go do their own thing. Planner, I do my own thing. And, we're just hoping and praying that all these bits of information interconnect.
Yeah.
Never do.
Nah, I agree.
Never do.
Yeah.
Not once, mate.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, guaranteed. Like, if there's one project out there with design information, cost information, and time information interrelated, like, people do not understand the value of that bit of interconnected information.
Yeah.
That's my honest opinion on that matter. See, and that's when you get problems like this that you're talking about overclaiming. Would you be allowed to overclaim if it was an automated system? It almost wouldn't even.
Well, it wouldn't let you, but I mean.
So if you don't make progress, you don't get paid. Simple.
But there's other things to come in, like other things to consider as well. Like,
go on.
Like,
give me a perspective.
So when we're like assessing the cost complete from a financier perspective, maybe there are things that you might not see on site, like shop drawings. The shop drawings cost money, and they do reduce the cost.
No, but it's still tangible though.
Yeah,
it's a tangible output.
Yep.
A document is produced.
Yes.
It's called a shop drawing.
Yep.
Which then gets approved by the client.
Yes.
all right, and then goes to a manufacturer.
Yes.
So they're all tangible items.
Yep.
So then you can link that back to a design.
Yeah, if you can do that.
link that back to a program.
Yeah.
You can.
But
It's all it's.
But where do you get that information from? Like for that to happen, the builder or would have to be so transparent for you to be able to tie that all in together. Otherwise, you're kind of using your own opinion on, maybe benchmarking data or AI. I don't know how that would happen.
So let's start with how about the builder let's start with the builder being honest with himself.
Yes.
Understanding the interrelated bits. I'm not asking the builder to report to you as a PQS.
Yeah.
About how all of these bits and pieces of information are interconnected.
Yeah.
Like here's a brilliant idea not to go broke.
Yeah.
And manage your risk.
Yeah.
Like interconnect your time data, your design data, and your cost data.
Yeah.
Not hard.
But like, what software does that though? Like
Nothing at the minute.
Yeah, it will. It will, and it's coming.
Mate, without a fucking doubt,
It's coming.
Without a doubt, it's coming. Like,
Yep.
It's coming.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
not far away.
No.
Yeah.
Like thinking of where it's come over the last 5 years.
Yep.
The next 5 years, it's going to be exciting.
Oh, mate,
it's going to shake
AI,
things up a bit.
Yeah. But before we get into AI and all of that,
Yeah.
I want to pick your brains on just one point that you raised a bit earlier.
Yeah.
You said getting at completion costs.
Yeah.
Was really difficult.
Getting at completion costs.
Yeah. Cost at completion. What do you call it? Forecast final cost.
Yeah.
Against line items.
Yeah.
Is challenging. Yeah. You said that.
What did I say?
You said getting at completion costs against the line item, say for shop drawing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is challenging.
Yeah.
I wanna understand why. I wanna kind of dig in and let's unpack that a little bit to understand why you think there's a budgeted cost, there's cost that's actually spent, there's remaining cost, and then there's at completion cost. There's cost that
Yep.
So that's your budgeted cost plus your actuals plus your variation, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So why is that difficult to obtain?
Transparency.
Hmm.
Like oftentimes you don't get all that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're sort of an advice. Like if we're talking about financial reporting, we're just advising on a project, and quite oftentimes. So we've got the initial report and the progress report. We're doing the initial report, and like interrupt if I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but when we get doing the initial report, we do our own cost verification of the project. Oftentimes we don't have all that information.
So you struggle as a PQS to
Yep.
get that information from the main contractor.
Yeah,
Oh, wait. I can see how that would work.
yeah.
They don't even fucking want you there, mate.
No, they don't.
Let's start with
They
that.
don't.
Because of PQS. Like,
Some of them won't even give you a preliminaries breakdown.
fuck it up.
Like,
No.
So
Well, I can understand why you're struggling with that now.
So,
Yeah,
like,
okay.
and that's absolutely fine. So then when we don't get all that information, and that's why that cost verification estimate is so important part of the initial report, is that we then, if we don't get that information, that I'm just going to assess the value of works completed to date, and check that against my cost verification estimate, and then that's what I think is reasonable, and those are the market costs, and that's what I'll recommend. But and if there's a certain line item that they might disagree with, well, I'm happy to sort of hear them out, and if they come up with a good a reason as to why, I'm happy to hear them out, and they might be right.
But then 9 times out of 10, the contractor actually believes that you're there to fucking screw him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
But
So why is he gonna
no, I don't think they all are. Like
I don't know. Yeah.
some of them do, but like the ones that I'm like working with at the moment, there's a few that I'm working with down in Christchurch, and the builders have actually been brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and it's
That's
it's actually really refreshing.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing. So
Interesting.
they might say, okay, we've done 100%. Well, they do try it on.
Yeah.
But that's just part of the game. It's just it is. So like they might claim 100% of structural steel, and I'll go, okay, well, the canopies aren't done on the warehouse, and you haven't got a sign off from the structural engineer, so I can't do 100%. Without the canopies and without the structural engineer sign off, maybe we're doing 85%. But they still want the same. They don't want the invoice to change. So it's about them looking through their claim and seeing if there's anywhere else low that they can sort of put that money towards. It could be a preliminary time-related cost. Maybe they're 70% through the program, and maybe they've only claimed 30-40%. And so you've kind of got to be fair and take a look at that. But again, you've got to check it against your cost verification estimate.
I'm starting to understand why you call it an art form.
It is. Yeah, and you've got to manage these relationships with everyone between the financier, the developer, the builder, the financier doesn't want to get phone calls every month. Just, this quantity surveyor is just trying to screw us at every corner. So it's tough. It's tough.
Mate, hope you're getting paid enough to do it.
No, no.
I just see
But I love
an
it.
awful lot of coordination and just manipulating numbers just to keep somebody happy. That's what it sounds like.
You're not manipulating numbers because you are reporting accurately on the cost to complete.
Okay.
It's just where that so doesn't not really too it's not too important on where they're claiming it, as long as we're happy with the cost to complete. So sometimes builders don't even know, like the quantity surveyor doesn't actually even know what's in certain trades, or so they say. It's a mess.
I can totally understand why we had this fucking mess we're in.
It's a mess.
As an industry. This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But it's fun. I enjoy it.
I bet you do.
I love it, mate.
You're like fucking sitting here talking to the podcast about all the shit that you're going to deal with. I love this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So it's the most important thing for like PQS or a financier's QS is responsiveness. You've got to be responsive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everyone's unhappy. You've got to turn these things around pretty quickly. And communication. Yeah. And compromise. But not compromising at the financier's expense.
Yeah, right.
Not exposing them to risk.
Well, you are the client side QS, so obviously you're going to side with the client.
Yeah, financier.
Financier, sorry.
Yeah.
Financier, my bad.
Yeah, it is a bit confusing there.
Mate, interesting world you live in, eh? So, Dan, serious question.
Yeah.
All right. What do you reckon your role will be 5 years from today? Fast forward 5 years from today. Do you reckon your role will even exist as a PQS?
I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it will still exist.
Mm-hmm.
I think perhaps there may be fewer quantity surveys in the industry. I think
QSs?
Yeah, I think there could be, because there's only so many projects in New Zealand, and if AI and technology can make that more efficient, then some of them are going to be made redundant. Some of us are going to be made redundant. It's hard to say, but I think that people ought to start, learning AI and start getting ready, because if you're complacent, perhaps you get left behind.
What are you doing in the AI digital tech front space?
Absolutely nothing.
No, mate.
Absolutely nothing, and I should be.
You should be.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
100%. That's why I was so interested in the IBOQ.
Yeah, cool.
Because I was like, what's this?
What's this? Yeah.
Am I going to be redundant next year?
What do you reckon?
Shit. Okay. I think it's good.
But I think you like the IBOQ?
I like it.
Yeah.
I just think that a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And it'll get there.
You know what I'm having a challenge with the IBOQ,
What?
though? I mean, for people who don't know what an IBOQ is, I'll just give them a brief explanation. It's a tool that takes a 3D model and actually does an estimate with asset classification, which is consistent, and location breakdown, and estimates quantities of the entire job, right?
But you got to have that 3D model.
That's mandatory.
Yeah.
Without 3D model, I kind of fuck all,
Mm.
right? Okay. But what the use cases of that is just insane, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with the use cases of that. But truth be told, I'm trying to make myself redundant with the IBOQ. So IBOQ is the first part, which estimates things.
Yeah.
I want to get it to a point where we can actually generate a P6 program automatically from the information prepared from a 3D model, which is converted to an estimate, which is converted to a P6 program.
Yeah.
We can do that today.
Yeah.
Technically, we can create a task list. I can't create a logically linked program, right? 6 months, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my whole, like I've built a career out of doing this. Okay? Honestly, I built a career out of doing exactly what I'm trying to do now, right? Make myself redundant.
Yeah.
Every role I've gone into, I've gone, the easiest way for me to get a promotion is to make myself redundant. As counterintuitive as that
Crazy.
sounds,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy, but it works 100% of the time, every time.
Yeah.
Right? I walk into a project, I try and go, right, now we need to structure the data, structure the flow of information. How do I make myself redundant? Right? So interesting things happen, right? So you set up the whole team to become super efficient. Then what happens? You have nothing to do. Right? So then eventually what happens is people go, oh yeah, Andy's now showing up at fucking 10 o'clock to work. What's going on?
He's playing golf.
Oh, I play a lot of golf now. But then a rumor would probably start. Oh, Andy's probably going to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then immediately what happens straight after that is I get given a promotion because I've made myself redundant and I haven't got nothing to do, and the company doesn't want to leave me. The cost of fucking hiring me is way too much. So why would you fucking lose me?
That's the least they could do. give you a bonus.
Give me a bonus, give me a fucking promotion, and promote me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I've always built a career out of fucking making myself redundant. I'm carrying out the same concept with the IBOQ.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend everyone else do that though.
Why? Why not? Why not?
Because they'll all be redundant. They won't have jobs.
Oh, mate, like, you've got to focus on your redundancy.
But like,
You've got to go, how do I automate my fucking job? And now with AI, it's even
Yeah.
fucking possible.
but like the thing is, like with some of these AI tools, what happens with the, you got to get involved in the project early on, like from feasibility, so that you can help the architects and developers ensure that if they need to do some value management to get it within budget, you need to provide some alternative solution or value engineering to sort of bring it back within budget. Often that's off 2D models, and that starts from the beginning, from
2D,
feasibility.
redundant 2D designs.
Yeah, well, that's all we have at the moment.
Well, that's the problem with the industry, though.
Yeah.
So the problem with the industry is we start designing in 2D, and then we convert to 3D.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't even have 3D though.
True. And we just stick with 2D.
Yeah.
But then think about it, mate.
But what's the cost of 3D? For all the
Not
services
expensive at all.
engineers, for everyone to get involved.
It's not expensive at all.
Yeah.
Your cost of a Revit license is about $2,500 a year.
Yeah.
Serious. Mate, what's $2,500 a year for one
Nothing.
Revit license?
Absolutely
right?
nothing.
Okay. Now it's time for somebody to actually design a 3D model. But fuck all that.
But it's everyone though, right? Everyone's got to be involved in that process. Like all the
They
services.
all don't need Revit though.
Yeah.
Only the designer needs Revit,
Yeah.
right? From Revit, you actually convert to usable formats of that model in what you call an IFC file format.
Yeah.
Okay. It's called Industry Foundation Class
Yeah.
formats, which then everybody can download a fucking free software and open it up. With the IBOQ, we've even eliminated that. You don't even need a fucking software to open it up. I give you a web link and you're actually
Yeah.
navigating through a fucking 3D model,
Yeah.
which is actually linked to an estimate.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the cost of actually designing in 3D is ridiculously cheap these days.
Mm.
Okay. But here's my challenge to the industry, right? Why are you starting designing in 2D? Right? Stop starting fucking designing in 2D. Go straight to 3D. And then from that point in time, you can convert those 3D drawings to 2D drawings if you need to. And then I understand I'm going to get a lot of pushback about, how are you fucking going to get through the insurance loop? Right?
Yeah.
I need signed drawings which are approved. And how do I actually control that with 3D? I don't know the answer to that, mate.
Yeah.
I'll be brutally honest. I have no clue, right? Like, I'm not in that world. But I'm saying for us to make progression, we've got to start designing in 3D. Like, you don't, when you visually look at something, like you're looking at this chair, you're looking at me, you don't see me as 2D. You don't see a top view, a side view, a fucking front view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see 3D. Yeah. That's how we are used to seeing things, right? So why would we do something different in construction? I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I think 90 to 95% of design organizations out there start in 2D and then convert to 3D. And that's where half the fuck up start. Because, we're out of time, we're out of budget, we don't have enough money to actually design a fucking 3D model. I just pulled something together that looks like the building, so we'll release it.
Yeah.
I receive the model, I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Oftentimes, like, we'll provide, an estimate on the back of just a napkin or just even a conversation, right? We want, 355 apartment units, 20 stories high, etc. And
how many square meters is it?
How many square meters?
Bedrooms is it?
What are the functional areas? What do we got? Okay. How many car parks? Yeah. What are the services? What are the finishes?
All right, but we're definitely in a very, very interesting space and time.
Yeah.
And if you haven't started in the AI chain,
yeah,
highly recommend.
I might need some advice on that one, eh?
Easy, mate.
Yeah.
Anytime.
It'll be interesting to see what the next 5 years are gonna bring.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, you've still got a job.
I'm sure you will. You're a smart fellow. I mean, I'm sure you'll still have a job. So we're actually adding agentic AI into the IBOQ, right? Okay, because we've got indexed 3D information. What happens is now, say, I've got structural steel to be procured.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you normally do? As a QS, as a contractor side QS, you'd go prepare an RFQ. You get the specifications, you get the drawing sets, and you'd go send it away to every steel supplier who's your buddy,
Yeah.
or whoever you can find and you can Google, right? What if AI could do that? Agentic AI could do that automatically, and then turn around and go, right? I've got all the steel quantities, index 3D information, process that bit of information at the IBOQ, and automatically actually email every single steel supplier, which is 100-kilometer radius from the position of the site. Just think about that.
But I might not necessarily want every steel contractor.
I don't give a fuck.
It's the quality.
AI is doing the work for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, as a client, as a main contractor, as a client who's procuring the services, I could say between time, cost, and quality, I care about time and cost. Right?
Yeah.
So I'll feed that into the agentic AI and say, these are two things I really care about. Now, based on that, and every bit of information that you can find online about that particular supplier, now identify who's the cheapest price, who's going to deliver it on time, because I need it at this particular date, and filter down who, and tell me who you'd recommend to pick. I could completely automate my entire procurement process.
And SEO,
What's SEO? SEO is
searching. Yeah, but they could put information on the internet to say, oh, this, steel supplier is the best at cost, time, and quality, and it could perhaps.
Mate, these possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Endless. That's what I keep going on about.
Relationships have to come into this part as well.
Absolutely, right? I mean, obviously, then AI has now recommended 3 people for me to pick for a steel supplier.
Yeah.
Now I've still got to sign a contract to the guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've still got to send him either a short form agreement or a form of agreement that we're going to sign for him to deliver the product. But what I'm saying is, shortlisting the options could be so simple. It could be a click of a button.
Yeah. You'd have to only go out to let's say 3 or 5. You start going out to 100. None of them are going to want to tender for it.
Why not?
Because 99 of them aren't going to get it.
Yeah.
But they're going to incur costs.
Okay. Maybe he's got another agentic AI that he's
too.
Who knows, right? Then you're quantum multiplying of what's actually going. But then his agentic AI would be custom to his company, which then has the principles and core values of his company. That's actually. Where does it go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where does it end, right?
Yeah.
Possibilities are endless. But as long as we have disparate data in this industry like we do now, cost data isolated, time data isolated. What do you do every time you go on a fucking project site? You go, give me your fucking balance sheet or your cost, whatever. Your
trade summary or something. Yeah.
Whatever. Yep. Then you get a program which is separate.
Yeah.
And both of them do not fucking talk to one another.
Correct.
Then how do you then reconcile both of those bits of information with the design information? Challenge.
Well, hopefully you've done
Great
that estimate and you've. I don't think time and cost are the same things for cost to complete purposes. So you're looking at a project, you go, okay, the steel's up. I don't see too much how the program comes into play there just for is the structural steel being complete? You kind of got to go out there and identify that it has been complete and signed off, and then you can recommend.
But then you still got to reconcile that with design information to know exactly how much a structural steel needs to go up.
Yes. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything is interrelated, but somehow in this industry, we actually treat them all as just independent, different fucking silos of bits and pieces of information that one guy does and protects his little own fucking patch. And I'm like, guys,
no one wants to share this information too, by the way. They keep it real close.
Whether we like it or not, the fucking world's changing. Right?
Yeah.
And if we're not keeping up, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably had a bit of a rant. So.
No, you're right.
You like it?
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah. Different perspective.
Adapt or get left behind.
Yeah. I today I actually designed games for my son to play with as well. It's so easy to actually create a fucking game in Python. It's not even funny. You go to ChatGPT and you just go, right, create a game based on PY games. Make it a space shooter game. Boom, done. Copy the code, paste in a Visual Studio. You've got a game.
Wow.
You're a game done.
My son would love that.
Hey.
Send them to me.
But yeah, possibilities endless.
Yeah.
With AI.
Yeah, and it's hard to sort of comprehend because you only know what you know. You don't know. Yeah,
and it's changing every day, man. It's changing every day. No, the industry will catch up soon enough. Hopefully, after I made it, $100 million. Bro, so you spend a lot of time in construction. Construction is hectic. What do you do to stress relief? How do you break away from all of this? And what do you do to mental health? How do you
golf?
How do you cope?
Golf. I enjoy a bit of golf, but sometimes that can actually hurt my mental health. So
how does fucking golf hurt your mental health?
Because you're playing against your own handicap, right? So sometimes you might have a bloody good game, and then the next round you're like, oh, I'm gonna.
Isn't that why you always go back to the golf course though? Like that one shot, that one
That one shot.
drive that you've
Yeah.
actually driven 250 meters, and then you turn around and you go, I pick up that fucking
Feeling like
from the ground, and
Titans.
you turn around and you look at everybody, and you're like, that was me.
You just
fucker."
you give it the club swirl. Yeah, but yeah, and those are the shots that you remember. Those are the things that do bring you back to
100%.
course. But like lately, I've just been playing really badly, and can be frustrating. You know,
Well,
you can only lose so many balls, mate. You can only lose so many balls.
how many balls do you lose in a fucking normal game of golf?
Oh, probably like this 5, 4. But then I'll also find heaps. I'll find a few while looking for mine.
Yeah. Well, you always do.
Yeah.
I actually got into golf like recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I used to play golf like back in the day.
He's going to tell me now that his handicap's like much lower than mine, and I've been playing for like 10 years.
Hey, what's your handicap?
I haven't actually scored my handicap for quite a while because it's been that bad. But handicap's probably like 15. I got it to like 12, so it's pretty bad.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you have a better handicap than me.
Well, what's yours?
I don't know, probably like 27 or something.
I played with like a mate of mine down in Christchurch. He started off at like 18, and then within like 6 months, he's shooting 4 over. I'm going, and that's when I started going, I'm going to pack it in.
But that's yeah. I mean, like,
Good for him. Great for him.
yeah. Mate, but my like drives are insane. Like
Yeah.
I drive straight down the fairway, 250 meters.
Yeah.
Done. My putting game just sucks. My chipping
Same.
game just sucks.
Same.
Oh, like I suck at both.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. Though. I'm working on it.
Yeah, no, my drive's all right. I could probably drive about, 280, 300
Can you?
yards. Yeah, yards.
Yards, not meters. No, I'm
Yeah.
just talking meters.
Yeah, I always yards. I don't know why.
It's because it's a fucking bigger number now, isn't it?
That just makes me feel a bit bigger, eh?
These are PQSs.
And, maybe a little bit more with a tailwind, but
Yeah.
those are the numbers.
Mate, we should go for a game of golf.
Yeah, whereabouts?
I don't know, wherever. Mangakiki, Remuera,
Come down
Takapuna,
come down.
Christchurch.
Clearwater?
Where's Clearwater?
Clearwater. In Clearwater. In Christchurch.
Oh, in Christchurch. Yeah.
It's a nice course, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, lots of water.
I'll fly down, mate.
Yeah, do
No
it.
wonder you're losing 4 or 5 fucking balls every.
Mate, there's like there's like water on every, I don't know, every second.
Oh,
Yeah.
How often do you play golf?
I haven't played in ages now, just because of the frustration of it. But I used to play, twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as strategic planning, we actually host a monthly golf.
Yeah.
Session.
Send us an invite, and
Easy, bro.
Yeah.
Easy. But you got to fly to Auckland for that.
I don't mind. I'm up in Auckland every
Mate, the
month or
money's
so.
in Auckland. There's no money in fucking North.
I've got to get more clients up in Auckland. I'll make that move. But like I'm up here like probably fortnight, every month.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sweet. Easy. We'll figure out when you're there, and we'll actually get you an invite to the next golf sector. Swear
I'm gonna
it.
start.
Says the guy with the fucking 15 handicap.
What happened? What happened?
Man. So what else do you do apart from golf?
Lots of walks with the family.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
got a 7-month-old daughter. Got a 5-year-old son.
Mhm.
Enjoy walks, swims, just whatever.
And that's how you cope with all the stress in the industry.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know if that you're trying to make a point, but yeah.
You just told me the whole thing is all about a fucking platform.
Just a lot more
You got to
stress.
fucking deal with, and the amount of stress you got to fucking go through. Like that's all I got from that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just sitting down here wondering how the fuck this guy actually deals with his fucking mental health issues.
Yeah,
Or mental stress or whatever,
I probably, by the sounds of it, I don't. No, I play a bit of chess as well, which
Oh, do
again, yeah, but that doesn't help either.
I'm
Yeah, walking does. Walking
Yeah,
does.
right? Cool.
Lots of walks. You do a lot of thinking, strategic planning there, and walking
Yeah, nice.
while walking. So yeah.
Nah, cool. Anyways, bro, it's been fucking great having you on the podcast, man. Like, thank you so much for flying up all the way from Christchurch, being here on the podcast and
Thanks for
sharing
having me.
all your valuable insights. It's been like really, really cool. Like, I genuinely enjoyed this.
Yeah.
And yeah, shout out to, Panic guys. Like, thanks and thank you for the beers.
I've got to find my next
Appreciate it.
job now, being redundant and all that.
Oh, being redundant. Now you're gonna be redundant in 5 years. Don't worry.
I'm quite passionate about it. I think I'll be all right, mate. I'll be all right.
You alright? Nah, it's look, your job will just change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Don't worry. I'm not worried.
It's like the calculus, right? When the
Yeah.
calculus came out, everybody said, "Oh,
And the
I'm
nail
never
guns.
going to learn how to do math."
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know how to do math properly, but I can still use a calculator properly.
And same with nail guns, right? We had, hammers, and now we've got nail guns, just more efficient.
It'll be fine.
No, I'm not worried.